Hello and welcome to another episode of Sounds is Coleman. I'm your host Alex Miller, and today with me I have
Jason Button.
We'll kick things off with the last game Sunderland played, which was against Bristol City, and I think it's fair to say no one really expected this to happen.
I mean, no one really saw it coming at 3-1, let alone before the game started. Really, it was an odd game, just very strange. 3 goals in each half. There's not really anything to say other than Sunderland were crap in the first half and less crap in the second.
I mean, I think some people would have expected maybe Bristol City to get 3 goals, but the fact that 3 goals in the first half, and it really was a tale of like 2 halves, and it was almost like, I don't know if Coleman said something at half time, but like obviously Bristol City got a bit complacent. They was like thinking, oh yeah, we've won the game. There's no chance we're going to let this slip from 3-0. And then Bristanbul occurred. But
the thing is, Bristol had chances in the first half as well. It could easily have been 4 or 5.
It should have been.
At half time. I mean, I know they missed a couple of sitters that have been on the highlights, but from what I've heard and seen, they dominated the first half and deservedly 3-0 up. But as I said, it could have been so much worse.
Yeah, because it was embarrassing in the first half. And like the defending for the goals is so poor, and it starts with the first one from a set piece, and no one ever wants to see a set piece goal, and one so easy as that where the ball is floated in.
The worst thing about it was that the scorer, he had so much time to get the ball down, control it, and get round Lee Camp. It's just, you should, in that sort of situation, you should give them 2 touches at a bare maximum.
Even that's too much.
Exactly.
To be fair.
But there's just no pressure on him. I think it was Tyce Browning.
Yeah, I think it was Browning
who was meant to be marking him.
Just let him go.
He just stopped, and by the time the ball was in the net, he had barely moved from when the ball was first kicked.
It's the fact that half the players were looking for offside. I mean, that says it all.
And it's just lack of communication, lack of discipline, lack of any idea what's going on. And it's we've seen it all season. We've seen it for the last few years at Sunderland. Yeah,
and then for the second goal, it was a pretty similar story, because this time it was John O'Shea doing the poor defending, but he's just like so static. And I mean, I know he doesn't have the sort of pace or like the agility. I'm not going to say one side, because I don't think he ever has, but I mean, he's not an agile sort of defender, is he?
Especially he's much more of a defensive lump, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, he was just caught cold, and it obviously allowed the striker to go through and then like take it around past Cam as well. But it's just, at that point you're just thinking, how bad is it going to get? Like how many is it going to get?
The thing is, I think half time came at just the right time, because the momentum that Bristol had at that point, they could have kept going for so much longer. Yeah,
and obviously the third goal, again O'Shea, I've watched it back, and he's just drifting away from his man. He never really looks to see where obviously the goal scorer is. And
the thing about John O'Shea is that he's spent so much time playing at such a big quality club like Man United under Sir Alex Ferguson. So I'm not sure what Sir Alex saw in him. I'm not sure if he's been degenerating over time. But
I mean, he's 36 now.
He is.
You can't expect him to like do everything, but
the experience that he's had, you'd expect him to at least try and track a man.
And then when he does realise it's too late, because he hasn't got the the pace obviously that Jeju does, so
it's almost as though he's switched on 3 or 4 seconds too late.
Yeah, because even if he gets a bit closer, like makes a bit of a challenge for him to actually get a shot away. You never know, it could go anywhere.
Just at least put some pressure on the striker. But it's just it's not okay for any level of defending, let alone Championship, in a team that are really struggling as it is.
And the fact that we got caught so cold, because we came from a Sunderland attack as well, the third goal, and apart from the defenders actually back, I can't remember seeing that many people actually in the shot when obviously when they were going forward.
I mean that's happened a lot this season, hasn't it? Sunderland having it is again set pieces and struggling. Sunderland can't attack them, let alone defend them.
We seem to have said that quite a few times. But yeah, and obviously then half time came, and I think Coleman did say that he said some. I don't think he said specific what sort of words, but
it couldn't have been polite.
Yeah, I don't think it was, but it worked because it was. I think we've been waiting for a good Billy Jones cross since he joined from right back, and he put in a really good ball to Catamol of all people.
I'm still not sure what Lee Catamol was doing that far forwards.
It worked. I think I'm going to count giving him an assist here via the bar, but it was a good header to be fair. And it's literally like a couple centimetres low, and obviously Catamol gets the goal, but it came off the defender and went in, and that just seemed to be like the spark, which just gives it, because it was about 70 minutes I think into the game. Just gives you a bit of hope, gives you a bit, obviously the team a bit more light to think if we get another one in the next 10 minutes, you never know, yeah.
And then it happens.
I know. And Catamol again.
And I think at that point it's more mentality than skill. It's who's got the momentum, who's really pushing. And at that point you've got to think, if Bristol City are on the back foot, that's a huge chance to really take the game to them.
They just start panicking a bit more, like obviously because they were so like confident, and now confidence has turned into a bit of like complacency. So, but it was a really well worked goal. Like we've seen a lot of poor set pieces at Sunderland. It's like too many for one season, and Lee Catamol just like fired it in a medium around 12 yards out.
And that move looked like it came straight off the training ground.
Yeah,
which, to be honest, it's nice that we actually know now there's something happening at the academy line.
Yeah, I know.
Because over the last few months, we've said, what must they be doing in training? It turns out it's that free kick routine, apparently.
I swear they've just been running about for about 6 months. But, yeah, and obviously McGeady hits it well, he connects with it well. And I mean, it was pretty close to goalkeeper, but he can't react because there's so many bodies in the box as well.
I mean, he must have seen it late.
After that, and it was really like all momentum towards Sunderland, and it should have been 3-3 5 or 6 minutes beforehand.
Oh, Ashley Fletcher.
I mean,
if any other club, it would probably be miss the season.
It'd probably go. Any other club that you play for, you'd probably go in off the goalkeeper. But it was a great save. I mean, he does react really well down low to his left, but he shouldn't be given the opportunity to actually save that. But because I really want Ashley Fletcher to do well, because we need a striker who can start scoring.
Especially now that Grabban's gone.
Yeah, obviously he's the main striker now. Well, at least at the end of the season. So
I mean, it's going to be interesting to see this coming weekend whether or not Coleman sticks with the system or switches it up, because there must have been some sort of change at half time.
Yeah.
Whether it was personnel or just tactically.
I think we did go for the back, and it really did change things, because fire the back has worked a bit.
I mean, it worked away at Molineux, which was probably one of the results of the season so far.
And it has worked quite a few times this season, but at the minute, if we're conceding 3 goals and playing 5 at the back, like what's the point? Like,
yeah.
We may as well have a bit more of a go.
Especially having Lee Catamol, or a player like Lee Catamol, in front of them.
Yeah, but when the third goal did come, it was our old friend, the own goal, who's now, I think, was own goal would be our second top goal scorer at the minute. But
I think for that third goal, Osuro doesn't get the credit that he deserves. Because he was one of the few players to really take players on and try and break that Bristol City back line.
Osoro was brilliant in the second half. Every time he got the ball, he was positive, and that's what you want to see from him, because he's got that like electric sort of pace.
Yes, he's got that edge. He's got that flair that that can really not tear teams to pieces, but add something extra to an attacking lineup.
It's just that, like, with every like winger or attacking player, it's the final product. Like, and obviously he did it perfectly. Just hit it across the box, and it can go anywhere. And that's exactly what happened. He went in off the defender's heel.
I'm not sure who the initial cross was for. Unless it was just trying to get it into that smooth box.
I think he was just hitting it, like, as I say, like in the mixer and that, and just hoping for the best, because I mean it could come off a Sunderland shirt, it could come off anyone as well.
I've mentioned momentum already, and when you're in that sort of situation where things are starting to fall for you, you do try those things.
Yeah, and I think that going back to the formations, I think we will probably see 4-3-3 probably go back to coming Brentford game. So
that would be what? Who would you have in your front three then? I'm guessing Fletcher up front.
Yeah, I think I'd probably put Fletcher, Asoro, and I think McGeady. Okay. How it was second half of the last game. Because I think McGeady's almost like, even though he's had these poor games where like he just looks like he can't be bothered, he's almost too good to be on the bench.
That's the thing. He's got that ability. He has clear skill, and he's shown that he has it. I mean, if he can get that if he did get it on a consistent basis, he wouldn't be playing for Sunderland.
Yeah, no, that's the point really. But the thing is, he's our top goal scorer at the minute, obviously, with Grabban not being at the club anymore. He's got 6, and I mean, I think all of them have been outside the box, apart from the one against Bristol City. So he's got that little, I want to say like X Factor moment throughout the throughout like the game, which you kind of just need. Like, and I mean, I think he'll be a bit more confident now. I think Coleman would have already told him that he's playing against Brentford, so that's got to give him some like little boost as well. And I mean, I think him. And even like Loire's there on the bench as well.
That's the thing, because when you said those two wide players, I was going to bring up Loire because he's not really had. I mean, he's been at the club for 2 weeks now, and I don't think he's had the chances that he maybe deserves.
As Coleman was saying, I think that he is still a bit behind on fitness.
Okay,
but I mean, he's almost like, because I think he would be playing probably, but Asoro has been playing really well recently.
Yeah,
obviously. He got that goal not long ago to win the game against
Hull.
Yeah, against Hull. Yeah, and he's just. I think it'd be unfair to drop.
Yeah,
and obviously McGeady got that goal. So, but I think it's positive to all this competition for places now. And obviously you got Madger as well on the bench. I mean,
because Madger again, he's shown that he can win games as well because he scored the winner against Fulham. So there's actually options there now, which is refreshing to be honest.
I think that's the right word, to be fair. It's just nice to see we've got some options off the bench. And I mean, also the option, like, if we do play 5 at the back, to change the system up to 4 if it's not working, as obviously we did, and it worked. But yeah, I think Loire, I think it's just waiting to see what he can do from the bench. If he scores, say if he came on against Brentford and scored the winner, then you'd think he'd probably play in the next game. So at the minute, it's still obviously waiting to see, because he's got the attributes to excel in the Championship with his pace and like that sort of like power. He's got a few goals at this level as well. So
at least we know that there's no chance in at least the next year and a bit of promotion back to the Premiership. So there is a chance for development in this league, which I think is better than having to play the likes of Pep Guardiola's Man City, and Conte's Chelsea week in, week out.
Yeah, because I remember, like, say if we stayed up last year in the Premier League, we'd be awful.
Yeah.
Because obviously, with having no money, like, I mean, it hasn't gone well this year, but it'd be even worse. Like, imagine this team in the Premier League.
I think you'd probably outdo Derby's record of 11 points, I think.
Probably, but yeah, like, going to the Brentford game, like, it's a team who's probably sums them up to about like 10th-ish, but like they're not that far off the playoffs, but in the same sense they're not a million miles away from like the bottom reaches of the league. But I think it'll be a difficult game though.
I do like Brentford as a club in itself. I think the transfer policy is something that a lot of clubs could look at, because they're using analytics and expected goals and all that to try and scout for new players, which is how they've got a lot of their foreign talent, to be honest. One of whom, Lasse Vibe, has last week or so, I believe.
Yeah, it was recently that he's left.
Has gone to China, so that's a big loss for them, but potentially a big game for Sunderland. Because this weekend he would probably be one of those players who would be able to drift. I mean, he was a deep line striker, so he had that ability to drop back, which I don't think they have anymore.
And I mean, I was looking at the goal scorers, and similar to Sunderland, they don't have a goal scorer who's got more than like 6 goals. I mean, they've got a few more, obviously, like scorers around the team that more than Sunderland do, but it's a chance for like just to see how like we can do it after a positive game. And I mean, we've said this so many times, like we need a couple of positive results.
Yeah, because I feel as though, and I keep saying this every week as well. Every time there is a positive result, nothing comes from it.
Yeah.
Just going to the next game and it's back to square one.
Yeah, because it's going to get to the stage where, say we win a game in like March or April, and then if we're not winning the game after, we're going to get relegated. Like that's a simple fact. If it keeps going, it's not going. It's like you take one step forward, then two steps back.
Because there are times at the moment when it's looking worryingly close to saying win or bust.
I mean, it's still obviously like the middle of February, but there's not that many games left in the actual season. And I mean, it was always get the 40-point mark in the Premier League, and at the minute,
I think it's going to be 50 points, especially this season, to try and stay in the Championship, because Barnsley at the moment taking up the final relegation place on 28 points, but I could say any club from Reading in 18th down, that goes Bolton, Birmingham, Hull, as well as the bottom three, have a chance of going down. So it's still very, very tight. That means that every single point is vital, especially against the likes of teams that aren't necessarily, well, any team to be honest, because any team around the relegation places is a huge win as it is. But if say Sunderland were to beat a team like Brentford on Saturday, that's points that the other clubs around them may not have been able to get.
And like you say, we need like 50 points. I mean, when you look at the table, it's a tough ask because we've got 26 now, so we need basically the same amount of points again. It's hard to predict who will go down. I mean, I think Burton. You say Burton are probably going to go down. Like
I can see of all the clubs in there, Burton would be the one team that I would quite happily, just not happily, but reckon that they would stay where they are.
Because I mean the goal difference as well is by far the worst in the league as well. And but that leaves two spots. I think it'll probably go down to near the end, last couple of games of the season. And obviously looking at our fixtures,
that's not good for Sunderland, is it? No.
It's because obviously with Fulham away and then Wolves at home, you couldn't really ask for many harder fixtures. And I think Fulham probably then will be looking around playoffs. Like if they're not already in the playoffs, secured, they might even be looking for top two then.
And then Wolves are going to be they're not even going to be fresh from their promotion party, are they? Because that's going to be happening in the next month or so at this rate.
Yeah.
So they'll be. I think it's going to be interesting. I mean, I'm sure we'll get round to it later on in the season, but if it does come down to Wolves, which I hope it doesn't, then there's a lot of questions that could be asked about that Wolves squad. As in who they're going to play, whether they'll be getting rested or anything.
It's like the big thing about like Sunderland is like normally with teams you see them do better at home, and like obviously their away form's a lot poorer. But if you looked at just at the tables of obviously the home, like we actually are 23rd in the home table, but in the away table we're 17th.
Thing is, do you reckon that's because it's kind of a culture around the club now? We've heard, I think it was Martin Bain talking about the culture of negativity around the club. Do you think that it's again refreshing for the team to leave Wearside and experience something that's not quite as tragic?
I think it kind of has been in the past, but it shouldn't be. I mean, like people should looking forward to playing in front of. I mean, it's only around 30,000 this season, just under, but
it's still the third or fourth biggest average attendance in the league,
and that's with obviously it's 47,000 seat stadium as well. I mean, imagine what it would be like if we were playing well. But I just think I do slowly think that the negativity that mentality is kind of going away. But the only way to probably for it to leave is one, get results at home and get results in general as well, and
actually build something on those results. Because again, it's a case of 2 steps forward, 1 step back at the moment.
But obviously, I think the other reason is the actual backroom staff at the club as well, like Ellis Shaw. There's always that negativity, obviously from the top as well.
I mean, there's been talks of protests recently as well, hasn't there?
Yeah.
Against Ellis Shaw, and Chris Coleman's come out. Fair play to him. Because I know a lot of managers would stay away from that side of the club, but he has said, on rightly or wrongly, depending on your viewpoint, support the club, support the team, because at the end of the day, nothing's going to get changed by things staying as it is with this again culture of negativity.
And I agree with him, to be fair. Well, I think protest, like in like sort of one sense, it wouldn't be a bad idea, but like what you're really protesting against, because I mean, Ellis Short doesn't really want to be at the club. He doesn't even go to games.
I mean, he's openly trying to sell the club over the last year or so.
Yeah, he's based in America again. Obviously, he's never really in England, so he's clearly not interested. And I mean, he knows that. Like we know, like he knows that.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of a standoff at the moment, isn't it? As to it's not who's going to break first, but it's just a matter of waiting for the right suitor to come along for the club.
Yeah, and then like what Chris Coleman said, I think he's right. Like we need to get behind the team, and like obviously all the fans who go to the games just need to get behind the team first and foremost, because that's what's going to like go on the pitch. Obviously, that's what the players will feel, and like obviously these players aren't like here for like a lot of them aren't going to be here for the long term.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of them on 1-2 year contracts. Yeah,
while it was only a 6 months like contract as well. So
I think that's more. If it was mid-table championship at the moment, then there would be an extra year to that deal. But this I don't want to say the state of the club, but the situation the club's in at the moment is very up in the air as to what's going to happen this time next year.
It's pretty much a loan deal to see like what goes round with him, and then if it goes well, I reckon we'll sign him on like a 1 or 2 year deal or something like that. But it is interesting to see like what will happen over the summer, because it all depends on what league we're in first and foremost. Because if we're in the Championship, I mean, you think someone will want to buy Sunderland Football Club, and then it's almost like you can almost have like a clean slate, like going from like the Championship. But it all depends who wants to like buy the club. Do they have enough money to settle all like the debts and like?
Because we saw that with Hartlepool, didn't we? I think that it was around this time last month they had a potential buyer, and he looked at the club finances and went, "Yeah, I can't do that." Yeah,
because if some like billionaire, multi like 100 millionaire whatever was saying like, "Yeah, I want to like," from the outset like, "Oh, Sunderland, they've been in the Premier League like for a long time. Like we've been in League One like once. That seems like a big enough club to buy and invest to." But then you look a bit deeper and look in a bit more depth. But I mean, you just want to hope someone takes a risk, and I think it'd be important if someone was from like the area, but like obviously you're going in a bit more niche, sort of like people there who from like the northeast is like a billionaire. But I
mean, I would say Mike Ashley, but he's not even like local, is he?
No. The person who tried to buy Newcastle, do you reckon they should have a look?
Amanda Stavely. I mean, that's broken through. There's always the chance.
That would be a story though. That
I would love that. You'd just like to see steam rising from the city of Newcastle.
Right, so we'll do the predictions as we always do. How do you see it going then?
I've already said about my appreciation for what Brentford are doing. Some of their players are fantastic. Josh McEachran, I know he's been injury prone. I'm not sure if he's fit for Saturday, but he's just
it's like the captain as well as actually former Sunderland player.
Yeah, John Egan came through youth ranks, didn't he?
Yeah.
Before he went down to Gillingham. And he's started to work his way up again. Fair play to him after leaving the rear side.
Well, he's the captain. So he's obviously doing well for himself.
And his centre-back partner, Andreas Bylens? Something like that. The Danish centre-back.
Yeah.
He's, again, top quality defender. So, I can't... But, again, going forward, I think they've got too much for the likes of John O'Shea. So I'm going to have to say, maybe... I can see Sunderland nicking a goal. I'm going to go 2-1 Brentford, I reckon.
It seems like whenever we win, it's always 1-0. So, part of me's wanting to say that, but I feel like there'll be... I can't see keeping a clean sheet. I think I might go same score, but I think I might go Sunderland to win 2-1.
Oh, alright.
Right, so obviously, as we do a podcast every week, there's actually obviously midweek games come around, and next week there is Bolton, which is an absolutely massive game at the I want to say the Reebok, but that's not what it's called anymore.
No, what is it now? It's the Macron.
Yeah,
isn't
the
it?
Macron Stadium. And
I'm still living in 2008.
yeah, it's like Carling Cup. It still should be that in my eyes. And Bolton are actually coming off a defeat on Tuesday, which they got beat off Cardiff 2-0. And I mean, that was a real chance. I mean, it was a difficult game against away at Cardiff.
I mean, Sunderland know better than anyone
Yeah.
how tough a game Cardiff is.
We found out that the hard way. But I mean, if they could have got a point or at least a win there, I mean, that would have been massive. Obviously, with it being their game in hand. But so it was obviously nice from a Sunderland perspective to see them lose. But
I mean, if anything though, that just adds extra impetus on the game next week.
But I mean, they've got some massive fixtures, including us. I mean, they've got QPR next at the weekend, and then they've got obviously ourselves, Sunderland, midweek. And I mean, that's a big moment for them, because I mean, they could almost like get themselves a bit away from the relegation zone if they've got like 4 or 6 points there.
But this is a great chance for them, in the same way as there's been a couple of times this season where we can say that Sunderland have had chances to push on. But it's going to come down to, this can sound cliche, but it's going to come down to who really wants it.
One of the main negatives for Bolton, though, I think, is the lack of like goal scorer, lack of striker. Because I mean, they had a really good striker who I would have loved his Sunderland, Gary Medine, just that big sort of target man. But I mean, he was in form for Bolton. But
I mean, we were talking about him at the start of the transfer window, weren't we? About how he potentially could come in.
Yeah, but like, obviously Bolton got an offer like they basically couldn't refuse from Cardiff, who actually just played. Because I think he only had 6 months left in his deal, and it was about 5 million. So I mean,
all things considered, that's a brilliant deal for Bolton.
Yeah, they can't turn that down. But I mean, I think last game they had Lafondra and Sammy Amiobi up front, and I mean, I think Lafondra was decent at one stage a couple of years ago for quite a few years, I think now, again for Reading.
I mean, he did his, I think it was like 2010, 11, he was smashing up League One with, I think it was Rotherham, wasn't it? But then he got his big deal up to the Championship, and he's kind of just been floating around the second division for the last few years.
He's never really like done it, what you've seen, but I mean, he's someone who could just like nick a goal there, like in the middle, or just get in the right areas. But that is one area where I could see them struggling now. I mean, they signed Zach Clough, re-signed Zach Clough back, but they're still not that like 15-10 goal season. I mean, I'm not saying Sunderland have that at all, but I wish. But
and Bolton, of course, have also got the brother of somebody who's best not mentioned around these parts, Sammy Amiobi, who he's shown he can score.
I mean, he scored in the reverse.
Exactly, yeah. That was a high scoring game, wasn't it? Was it 3-3?
Yeah, 3-3, and I mean, that was an awful game in so many ways. Because I remember Bolton were looking like they were going to be like doomed at that point, but then something just like changed. I mean, they haven't really dropped off really since then either. Cause, I mean, they've jumped up to 19th now, and I mean, they're like 4 or 5 points clear of like ourselves, so they're in a position which obviously I wish we were. I mean, but we've got to obviously try and claw the gap back. And I mean, if we can get the result against Brentford, then it seems so unthinkable for us to get 6 points out of 2 games, but it'd be absolutely massive.
I mean, we were saying how close it was in those final 7 positions, at the bottom of the Championship. And again, this all depends on what happens on Saturday. But if Sunderland can go to the Macron and get 3 points, drag Bolton back down into this relegation scrap, because not necessarily last year, but we know that Sunderland can, when they need to, really push on and get out of these bottom places.
Yeah, and like the past obviously seasons before we got relegated from the Premier League, like we looked like a Champions League team in some seasons. Like, it sounds stupid, but like we were beating Man U, we were beating like these like big teams.
I mean, that might be casually screamed against Chelsea.
Yeah,
I'm sure it lives long in many people's memories.
That still remains like top 2 probably games I've ever been to at the Stadium of Light, for atmosphere and like obviously like just the occasion itself of beating a massive team like Chelsea. Yeah. But I mean, you almost want that sort of atmosphere back. I mean, we're not really going to get 45,000 like we had like then. But I mean, if we can manage to get back up to like 35,000 every game for like the last like obviously 15 games, however many there is left, I mean it'd be massive, and I think it would influence the players themselves. But it's about like actually deserving the fans to come back, because I mean,
and again this comes all the way back to Chris Coleman's comments about the protests and how he's saying that it's support for the team that matters more at the moment than trying to go against the owner.
Yeah, no, it's not going to do anything. But yeah, I mean, but the only way for them to be positive, the fans, is positive results. And I mean, this is it seems like every time we do this, it seems this is the right time. This is the right time.
It's gonna reach a point where the club runs out of good times to do stuff.
I mean, we're just hoping one time it happens, and then we can talk about how well we're doing in 1 week. But
and one day we're going to come into this, and there's going to have been two decent results in a row, and there's going to be positivity flowing. But it's just not happening at the moment.
I mean, if you look at the fixtures, we've got some decent players at the team where we could like win 2-3 games in a row. But it's all about if we can keep, because you've got to keep clean sheets. Everything starts with defence. And I mean, if we're conceding 3, obviously in games, it's not going to happen. I mean,
especially over the course of 45 minutes, like on Saturday.
Yeah, conceding 3 at Birmingham, conceding 3 at Bristol City. I mean, that's not good enough. And obviously, against Ipswich as well, conceding 2. And we need to like stop that first and like foremost. But obviously, we've got Brentford, Bolton, Middlesbrough. And I've seen a lot of people say, like I think Coleman said it. I think. The club interviewed like George Honeyman about it, saying it's a massive week, like 3 games in 1 week, and there's a chance in a small like time frame to actually jump up the table.
And again, things we've been talking about momentum and all that sort of thing, and positive results. A win against Borough. I know people say it's not a derby, but that could potentially change a lot around the club.
We almost need to start treating it like a derby, because that's how Middlesbrough treat it. Yeah. And I mean, it's never ever going to be as big as the fixture against Newcastle, because obviously the history. And
that's a given, isn't it?
Yeah, but we almost need to treat it as the second derby, because it's their main game. It's the game they look to, and obviously if we look to it, because we might be playing Middlesbrough, depending if they go up. Obviously they're a lot more likely to go up in the next couple of years than us, but if they can actually stay in the league, it might become a bigger derby if we keep playing them obviously all the time. But that would be massive, a win there, obviously at home. But it'll be amazing to see if we stay unbeaten throughout these 3 games. Because if that doesn't change your confidence, I don't know what is. Alright, so seeing as there's 2 games in the space of like the time we do the podcast, we'll do predictions as well for Bolton. I mean, this is very much dependent on how it goes against Brentford, but
I mean, after Saturday's game, it could go any way, to be honest.
But I think it'd be typical Sunderland to beat Brentford and then get beat off Bolton. But I don't think we've got a bad record against Bolton, especially away actually. So I think I'll go 1-0 Sunderland. I
was trying to be a bit positive as well, you know, and I was also going to say 1-0 Sunderland, because I can't see 2 away goals and still getting a result. Oh, still getting 3 points. But Bolton's defence, there's not much to them, I don't think, and they've shown that throughout the course of the season. So yeah, I'm with you, Alex, going 1-0.
I think that's a sign it's going to happen. So
either that or it's going to be another 6-0 demolishing.
No, get your bets on 1-0. Alright, so I think we'll wrap things up there. And be sure to check out us on Twitter, and obviously subscribe to our YouTube channel as well.